Elizabeth Warren exposing herself again. No, and not in that way. Fortunately, PNC shutting out Trump bank accounts, things like that. We've seen it with Kanye West, with Ye. We've seen it all across the map. We're going to talk about it here in a second. This is important because you are no better than a nuclear superpower. You are no better than Elizabeth Warren. You're no better than Donald Trump. You're no better than Ye. This is why it's important. This is a signal within the noise. And anytime you hear signal, you must share it. You have to share it. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. That is what we do know for sure. You are up next. We have PNC shutting off Trump's accounts, banks shutting out average citizens like Dutch farmers and Canadian truckers, Russian billionaires, and the entire country getting locked out of the SWIFT system, the dollar, homeless being barred from traditional assets like bank accounts, Kanye West being frozen out of his accounts. We have Blackstone freezing the funds of its users while its CEO gets paid $1.2 billion this year. We have Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, and other legacy systems falling apart. Silicon Valley Bank, right? All other banks we've seen in the last month or so that no one calls out and no one gets in trouble, just like the 2008 crisis where no bankers or politicians were put in prison. Heck, they got golden parachutes, not even put in prison. They actually profited from it. Millions of people lost their houses and their life savings that yet no one paid for. I actually moved one of my family members out of their house that was in the housing industry, and I actually had to physically move them out of the house. I was leaving school, leaving Michigan State University at the time, and that was my first foray really into money and understanding. I'd been into politics for 10 years before that, and in politics in school and political science and doing all this stuff, studying this, history buff, military buff, and then seeing the money side in that next 12, 13 years, 14 years, I went down the money rabbit hole and understanding what money truly was and realizing the game that was being played on all of us. Liz Warren was nowhere to be found for any of this stuff. Nowhere. I didn't see her backing up Trump, didn't backing up Ye, saying, hey, these banks shouldn't be getting bailed out. I haven't seen her doing any of this stuff. Do we know how much money she received, though, from FTX and scam bankster fraud? How much money was laundered to political campaigns that we'll never get to the bottom of it? Never. We'll never get to the bottom of that. Nope. We're going to worry about indicting Donald Trump, though. We're going to worry about, the little guy on the street peddling marijuana. Elizabeth Warren, no. She's going to lecture us about Silvergate and Silicon Valley Bank in these garbage banks and crypto exchanges like FTX and Celsius falling apart. She's all up in there. Fidelity. She's going to tell us how bad it is. She's going to tell us how bad Bitcoin is. And it's just thin air and nothing valuable about it at all because the government is behind it. You do realize, Elizabeth, that the government, even though I know we pay your paycheck, the government is nothing. You work at the consent of us, not the other way around. You aren't the benevolent ruler, king, queen. You do what we tell you to do. And here, if you want to go see the minute and a half, moronic take, you can go check it out here. When do they start taking back the power into their hands? When? When do people have the gonads to say, I'm accountable and responsible for my life, and I'm an adult? When? Politicians have the audacity to lecture us how they don't want us to escape the system. Christine Lagarde, anybody? If the people have an escape hatch, they will find it. And the problems that they created because they don't want to lose power. When are we going to find that? When are we going to do that? How in the world does that make any sense? At what point do people just say enough is enough and remove themselves from this broken system, this broken fiat system, and that fosters polarization, hate, and division? When? This is one of my favorite memes of all time. They got you fighting a culture war to stop you from fighting a class war. If that wasn't the truth, I don't know what is. The answer is already here, though. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is there because Bitcoin is money. The answer is not necessarily Bitcoin itself, but money is the answer. True money. We don't use true money. We use currency, and that's the difference. That's the game being played in all of us. That's the wool over everyone's eyes, the scales on everyone's eyes. Bitcoin is there as money issued by the people that cannot be changed or censored by politicians or government bureaucrats. Rules without rulers. Money is not created by governments. Newsflash, Elizabeth, and doesn't give money legitimacy. That's not how government works. We give the government legitimacy, period. Not the other way around. Money is generated by value creation and transacted between people. That's where money is created. Not from the government printer, not from banks doing fractional reserve lending. That's not how money comes about. Money is your wealth. It's your time and energy. Or money is a container for your wealth, which is your time and energy. That's it. It's a tool. So this begs the question, why continue to hold a liability on your balance sheet that you were told is an asset? Government is there to facilitate that trade, right? It's there to facilitate that trade, make sure the citizenry is acting inside the law. So why? Why hold that liability on your balance sheet that you were continually told is an asset for decades? Why continue to hold something that is constantly losing purchasing power? And why go to work every day and toil away from your family, away from your friends, your passions, your callings and hobbies, and work to be forced to pay taxes for a currency that another human gets to type up in their computer. That is the definition of clown world. Past is prologue, truly. Many of the problems we visibly see and subconsciously feel in our world can all be traced back to central banking and broken money. I am not the first one to pull on this thread. And if you like this, again, our blog here is in the description, our link here to our blog. If you want to go read this, you'd rather read a lot of the videos we put out instead, you can go check out the description here. And please share this out. Please share this out because the algorithm hates truth. The only way we're going to get to a more fair, just, and merit-based world, in a more accountable world, and less unrest, and less polarization, and less division and hate, is if truth gets out. The truth will set you free. Henry Ford told us we needed an energy money just over 100 years ago, and as many of you Google very quickly, within 2 seconds, you can find a bunch of newspaper clippings of Ford, and you can read it here, talking about energy money, what would replace that, and stop wars. This isn't new, guys. This isn't new. Why aren't we taught this in school? It's almost like there's a reason we're not taught it in school. You think? Friedrich Hayek told us that we need a sly, roundabout way around government to put the issuance of money back into the hands of the people. The Rothschilds started central banking and knew that anything could happen in the world, but as long as they were allowed to create money, they would control everything. This is not new, guys. Abundance and freedom are a choice away, and yet why did so few do it? Abundance and freedom are one choice away, and yet why do so few do it? Do we really think that lowly of ourselves, or that unconfident in ruling our own lives and deciding our own fate, that we willingly put it in the hands of others? Are we really that sheepish and lowly that we cannot be accountable and responsible enough to use sound money and eradicate division, polarization, and corrupt politics from our society? It's almost like the abuser and the abused, where the person needs to stay with them, even though they know it's a terrible situation. The most frustrating thing in the world is seeing the answer right in front of you, literally one click away. I'm going to use, this is currently human beings with Bitcoin, right there for all to see and take part in, and put the power back in their lives, taking away from those who are so eager to run and control everything in their lives. Race war? Drake says. Class war? Yeah, let's go. Give me. If Senator Warren wanted to actually do something, she would get rid of her $12 million net worth built on a $200,000 a year salary. Figure that one out. She will stop taking campaign cash from all of her biggest banks, all the biggest banks in Wall Street in the world. Conflict of interest much? She's out there telling us how we need to get rid of Bitcoin, we need to do all these things. But yet she's taking money in the background by all the biggest banks. Is it any wonder why all the things at the top of the article here she doesn't rail on? Interesting. She has, and what many have, we call BBD here at the Reset, broken brain disease. My goodness, this is a woman who claimed to be a certain race just to get in ahead in academia, of course. And that's like many of the BBDers, the problems they have in the mental disease they have, a broken brain disease, and think it's okay and walk around totally unashamed. This is the kind of people that are running for president and currently one of 100 senators governing the country. Again, this is not just Elizabeth Warren, though. It's many of them. Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Nancy Pelosi, Swalwell, on and on down the list, right? Go on and on and on. These people are just completely the biggest scams on the face of the earth. Liz Warren is more worried about what's in your Fidelity 401k and making sure that Bitcoin is out of it. Way more concerned about that, right? Why? Well, we just told you why. Because she's getting money from certain people, right? Follow the money. Do not follow the science. That's the dumbest phrase we could ever use. Follow the money and you're going to get much closer to the truth. So that way, you have to be intricately tied into the system, whether you like it or not. That's why they want you in the system still. Heaven forbid you have something outside of the craziness and madness of the crowds. Elizabeth Warren might be a good and decent person. However, she's an example of the worst of our system. The type of grift that is so intellectually dishonest, unaware of her bias, and righteously indignant that she struts around like the brightest peacock at the zoo. There's no more dangerous person than someone who doesn't have the slightest humility and knows so much that isn't so. Stay strong. Brandon, please share this out. If you got anything from this, please like the video, but share it out. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. Please. This is not financial advice, it's freedom advice. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And please, if you want to check out the blog and the written work we do, please go to the description. You can check the link there. We'll see you on the next one.